Hi, my name is Karen. I'm the founder of iamEatingRight.com. Welcome to episode 6 of The Juicy Life, where today we're talking about the anatomy of a green juice. I'll be sharing tips and tricks so that you have my tips and tricks that you can use to create your own mixes. So let's get started with tip number 1, which is to keep it simple. If you're not following me on Instagram, you should, and that information's below, but I am at iamEatingRight. But you can also follow the hashtag that I created called Simple Juice Recipes, where I tag pictures of some of the mixes that I'm doing that only have 2 to 3, at the most 4 ingredients. But keeping it simple helps in several ways. One, it saves on your prep time. If you're not having to prep a whole bunch of different leafy greens or carrots and apples and a whole bunch of different things, you're going to cut back on that prep time. And it also saves your budget. If every juice that you're making doesn't require 5 to 10 ingredients, then that helps to save your money as well and keep it where it matters in your wallet. And then lastly, it can also help your GI system to run smoothly. I'm someone who has irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, and for me, I find that the simple mixes do help my digestive system to run a little smoother. Now, you will also notice if you follow me on Instagram, sometimes I do have really big juice recipes, but that's usually when my vegetables and my fruit are kind of on their last legs and I'm trying to clear out the kitchen and trying to clear out the fridge, and so I'm putting everything in but the kitchen sink. But as a whole, I prefer to keep it simple. So for example, this ginger aid, and the recipe is on my blog, and I'll leave that link in the description box. It has romaine lettuce, apples, lime, and ginger in it. So really quick and simple. If you have, whether you have a Breville or a centrifugal juicer or an Omega juicer or a slow juicer, this will be a quick and easy prep time and cleanup time as well. So tip number 2 is what are you going to use to sweeten it up? And some of the sweeteners I like to use in terms of natural whole food sweeteners, that is our apples, carrots, pineapples, oranges. And if you are using oranges or grapefruit like we have here, you want to be sure that they're peeled. I peel all citrus except for lemon and lime. I actually find that putting them through the juicer with the skin on creates a really refreshing flavor. So give it a try if you haven't already. And then for pineapples, I like to peel them, but I don't core them before sticking them through. So those are some examples of the sweeteners I like to use. Tip number 3 are stretchers. Now these help to increase your volume, so again, you're getting more juice but using less ingredients to get more volume. And some of the stretchers I like to use, which are the same as the sweeteners, are apples, carrots, and also cucumber as well, and celery. Those are usually readily available, sometimes usually on sale, at least in my area, and they are quick and easy to prep. So they will help to stretch the volume of the juice that you're making. And they don't add, well, the celery will add a bit of a salty flavor, but the cucumber adds a lot of light, refreshing flavor, so it helps, especially when we get to some of the fun additions like jalapeno. Cucumbers help to cut back on that spice. So tip number 4, what veggies are you going to incorporate? Again, going back to tip number 1, to keep it simple, include 2 or 3 at the most, so you'll have maybe a carrot, apple, and Swiss chard, for example. Spinach and romaine are very light and flavorful greens, but they're not going to be too strong. They're a perfect way to get started with a green juice, and then you can graduate up to your kale, to your collards, to your Swiss chards. Whenever you are adding a new ingredient or something you haven't tried before, start small and then build up slowly so that you can, one, see how it tastes, how it works with other ingredients, and also be sure that it's something you like before you're putting in a whole bunch of a green. So for example, mustard greens, I did follow my own advice and I started out small, but then I added in a ton the next time and it became like drinking horseradish. And while I don't like to throw out anything that I make, this was way too hot to drink and I did end up having to toss it. So save yourself the waste and start small and build up slowly so you know how things will work and how your taste buds will respond. And then tip number 5 is, do you like a sweet juice versus a green juice? So I actually prefer my juices a little bit on the sweet side. I am slowly graduating to more green juices that only have one apple in them and a lot more greens. But I do like my juices to be on the sweeter side. And that's what works for me, and it's what helps me stay on track, especially when I am on a juice fast or a juice cleanse. You want to create mixes that please you. You're not trying to impress other people or, run with the crowd. Pick what works for you and build from there. If you are someone, for example, who's trying to control their blood glucose, you'll want to definitely stick to more greens and including less apples. But if you have a normal digestive system and also you're not on any medications, and again, you want to be sure to go to your physician before you start anything new, pick what works for you and go with that, so that one, again, you're not wasting it and you're using all of your ingredients. And then my last tip number 6, is to have fun. You want to add in things like ginger, jalapeno, sweet potatoes, jicama, garlic, lime, lemon. Have a lot of fun with different ingredients. Start small again and build up until you find your tolerance level, but have a lot of fun. Some people do add in spices like turmeric, cinnamon. That's not something that I do personally, but it is something that you can definitely try. You want to create something, your masterpiece, that you will enjoy, that you'll want to share with others, and it's a way that you're going to get the nutrients inside of you so you can get your healthy glow, love that beautiful body, and live a delicious life. So let me know in the comment section if there are any mixes that you like. Share with us. I'd love to see what you're making. And again, check out my blog for this gingerade recipe, and I'll see you tomorrow where we'll be talking about the anatomy of a green smoothie and my tips for creating a green smoothie that you'll enjoy. Thanks, bye.